Namaste. In this episode, we will discuss the spread of Indian literature in Southeast Asia. Dating back to the 1st century, Indian culture started making its way into the region of Southeast Asia. Ramayana is one of the greatest literary works of India. There are several versions of Ramayana in Southeast Asia which differ from each other according to their cultures. Reamker The Ramayana version of Cambodia. Ramayana came to Cambodia in 7th century as a part of poem. It is titled as Reamker, which means glory of Ram. Some scenes of Ramayana can also be seen on temple walls of Cambodia like Angkor Wat. There are several differences seen in Reamker that are not there in the original Sanskrit text. Some of these differences are a great deal of emphasis is given to Hanuman through additional scenes. For example, one of the most famous scenes of Reamker is the encounter of Hanuman with a mermaid. As Cambodia's population was predominantly following Theravada Buddhism, there is a big Buddhist influence on Reamker. In the Indian version, Ram is considered as an avatar of Vishnu, whereas in the Cambodian version, Ram is seen as a mere mortal and nothing special. One of the major changes comes with the scene when Sita passes the test of trial by fire. She is highly offended by Ram for not trusting her and decides to leave him and finds refuge at Valmiki's place. Kakawin Ramayana, the Ramayana version of Indonesia. Kakawin Ramayana is also known as Ramayana Java. Although a Muslim country, Ramayana is very popular there. Yogyakarta, a city in Indonesia, is said to be a transliteration of Ayodhya. Enactment of Ramayana in Indonesia is done through a puppet show called Wayang Kulit, which can last up to multiple nights. Many characters of Ramayana can be seen on 9th century Prambanan temple of Yogyakarta. There are some differences that we can see in the Kakawin Ramayana, like although the first half is same, the second half is so difficult from the Indian version that the scholars can't even recognize it. There is an introduction of few new characters like the character of Dhyan, the guardian god of Java, and his misshapen sons, which make up the 4 clown servants. The Indonesian version is based on Ravan Vad, which was a 6th century retelling of Ramayana focusing more on Ravan. There is a full performance of Kakawin Ramayana ballet that happens in temples during festivals in Indonesia. Phra, the Ramayana version of Laos. Ramayana reached Laos much later than other places like Cambodia and Thailand, which resulted in a loss of its original Hindu influence and is affected by the previous adaptations in Southeast Asia. It was brought around 17th century by Buddhist missionaries and is actually considered as a Jataka story highlighting previous lives of Buddha. Like other versions, there are differences in this version too, like adapting to its Buddhist influence, Ram is seen as an incarnation of Gautam Buddha and is regarded as true follower of his dharma, whereas Ravan is considered the previous incarnation of Mara, the demon that tried to impede the Buddha's ascent to enlightenment. This version focuses more on the heroism of Lakshman, hence names as Pralak, Praram. Also, instead of being set close to the Ganges, the story takes place along the Mekong River, the mother of waters and perhaps the most important river for many inhabitants in mainland Southeast Asia. Hikayat Seri Ram, the Ramayana version of Malaysia. The Malaysian version of Ramayana is known as Hikayat Seri Ram, which means Chronicles of Great Ram. The Ramayana came to the lands now known as Malaysia, most likely through Tamil traders. Even after Islam was introduced to the region, the epic's ideals of righteousness, loyalty, and selfless devotion ensured its popularity. Between the 13th and 17th centuries, the epic was written as a hikayat, an Arabic word that literally translates to stories and is regarded to be a form of Malay literature. It is performed in Southeast Asia through shadow puppetry, which makes it very unique. Differences that we can see in this version are minor characters are upgraded to become major characters. Lakshman is seen as courageous and focused, while Ram is shown as weak and arrogant. Another version focuses on Maharaja Van or Ravan, who is depicted in this version as being more just and loyal than Seri Ram, who is perceived as being arrogant and vain. Yama Zatdaw, the Ramayana version of Burmese. The Burmese version of Ramayana and Ramayana was influenced by Thailand due to invasion of Burma by Siamese kings in 15th century. Yam Zatdaw is also considered a Jatak story of Theravada Buddhism, where Ram is known as Yam and Sita is known as Thida. It was said to have been introduced during King Anavartha's reign in the 11th century. However, the version currently popular in the country also has Thai influences that can be traced back to the Ayutthaya. Maharadia Lawan, the Ramayana version of Philippines. It is said that the epic came to Philippines in the mid 17th and early 19th century by Malaysian and Javanese traders. Maharadia Lawan was written by Maranao people to Indianize the epic with some differences suiting their culture. The version that came had already been changed to Malaysian and Javanese versions, hence their trying to Indianize it didn't get back to its Sanskrit version, but it was close to it. Major difference that can be seen in this version is its emphasis to Ravan. Some scholars also say that Maharaja Lawan translated to Ravan. Ramayana in Philippines is enacted through their local dance Singkil. Ramakien, the Ramayana version of Thailand. Arriving as early as 13th century, it is the national epic of Thailand. Ramakien is influenced by three sources: Valmiki's Ramayana, Vishnu Puran and Hanuman Natak. Many versions of this epic were destroyed with the destruction of Ayutthaya province of Thailand in 1767. However, three versions exist currently, one written by King Ram in 1797, another written by his son Ram II for Khon drama, the dramatic art form of Thailand. There are some pictures of its painted version, which is in Bangkok's temple of Emerald Buddha, known as Wat Phra, the most sacred Buddhist temple. There are some major differences that are seen in this version, like Hanuman is shown as an important character more than Ram and is described as a man that seduces and attracts women. He is also shown to have relationship with Vibhushan's daughter and wife and daughter of Ravan. Sita is seen as the birth daughter of Ravan. Story goes that an astrologer predicted that she will bring doomsday to Lanka, so fearing that people will kill her, Ravan abandoned her in forest where she is adopted by Janak. He keeps a close watch on her and brings her back to her house at the time of banishment. In this way, we have gone through the various versions of Ramayana in Southeast Asia. For knowing various versions of Mahabharata, Jataka and Panchatantra stories and other literature of India in Southeast Asia, please continue watching. If you have liked the episode, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.